Welcome to the latest edition of the Fourth and Gold podcast. We are entering week 11. Would you believe it? It is absolutely flying, Paul. I can't believe the season's just going. But as always, I am loving every single minute I can watch it. And as always, we start on Thursday night football. Jets at the Patriots. Now, it's not the most appetizing game, but I think it could be a fun game. The spread is 12.5, I believe.
13.
13. Wow. So what do you make of this one?
I make that Justin Fields had 60 yards passing last week. He has had two decent games this year, one of them being against the Bengals and the Steelers in week one.
Mm.
They had two special teams kick returns that helped them get the win against the Browns. That game was really Brees Hall and kick returns that gave the Jets the win.
It was like a Brees Hall 40 yard touchdown.
Yeah. Um, the Patriots aren't going to give up these special teams plays. I don't think it so anyway. Or it would be very strange if they did, like a Mike Vrabel coach team. So the Jets are going to have trouble in scoring points. Shut down Brees Hall, no Garrett Wilson. Shut down Brees Hall, shut down the Jets. Make Justin Fields beat you, and I don't think that's going to happen. And the other side, the Patriots, you give them now, I give them credit, real top credit for two wins now. So that win against the Bills and the win last week was tough. I mean, the Bucks went up early and they were ahead of the Patriots heading into the half, and the Patriots double dipped. They got touchdown just before the half, and they received the kickoff and then scored a touchdown. Drake May didn't have his best game, but he made some big plays, some big deep throws in the game. So it wasn't his most efficient, like completion percentage and total yards wasn't spectacular compared to what he has done. But he still makes big throws. Like when the coverage is there, like that move, that big throw that he made to the receiver on the outside, it's like just he's really, really damn good at throwing the ball down the field, like outside as well. I just think it's really tough for the Jets. Like, I don't think the Jets are going to score more than. It's a really low points total. It's 43 points. So what you generally do with those is you go, right, I take the team to cover. I take the team getting 13 points to cover. But I don't know, it's the Jets. And the Patriot Stadium's going to be rocking. Rob Gronkowski is being retired as a Patriot
Mhm.
tonight. He signed a 2-day contract to be retired as a Patriot, so the place is going to be bouncing. It's the Jets. They hate the Jets. Yeah, I think the Patriots are going to win and cover. I just don't see a way that the Jets are going to score enough points to keep up with the Patriots and even keep up with the spread. I think take the money line out of it. The Jets' real thing is can they keep up with a 13-point spread? They need special teams to do it and Brees Hall to do it. The Patriots know that's the game plan. Restrict Brees Hall, you restrict and basically stop the Jets. And I think they're going to do it. Mike Vrabel, I think, should be like talked about more as being Drake May is going to be well, he's in the running for the MVP. How about Mike Vrabel as a coach who's turned it around just like that? Almost instant turnaround. Like, and you saw it, what like I was getting nightmare flashbacks of the Patriots last week when, they double dip, score, and then score after the half. That's what the Brady era Patriots used to do. And yeah, they're just a really, really well coached team. Also, Henderson appeared, Travion Henderson appeared, and he was so quick that he had enough time to look at the sideline while he was running in for a touchdown. It's just an added thing to add to their roster. You know my thoughts on Ramondre Stevenson. I just they needed an upgrade at running back. Henderson could be that guy, and if he's got that speed to add another dimension to catching the ball out of the backfield and little screens. And yeah, I just think the Patriots have got way too much for the Jets. The coaching is just being spectacular. McDaniels and Vrabel, and they just give him Drake May some confidence. The offensive line, they were complaining about not hitting on Travis Hunter. Well, Travis Hunter's done for the year, and they took the left tackle, and Drake May's protected, and he can stand in there. But yeah, I am impressed with the Patriots now. I'm not fully on the bandwagon, but I'm changing my tune after watching in detail their game last week against the Bucks. That was a big win. Bucks came out to play in tough conditions. It was raining there, tropical storm in Tampa, on the road, good team. Yeah, the Bucks are banged up, but the Patriots were impressive. And the Jets, well, they're not tanking because they won last week, but they're still competing. But I just think they're way overmatched. No Garrett Wilson, no chance.
Very fair. Very fair. The red hot Jets, who have won back to back.
Is it
Yeah.
back? It is. Damn, it's back. Jets.
They went 0-7 and have won their last two
Yeah, against the Bengals and Browns. Come on.
against the Bengals and the Browns. Like, this is not the Bengals and the Browns. I totally agree. I'm really impressed now I've, properly watched Drake May. That was probably on me, a bit of laziness. Like, when I've actually watched him, I am super impressed with how he plays. Yeah, it's not perfect. He's still learning. I mean, the interception he threw in the end zone, you'd want that one back. But when they double dipped, they kind of nearly messed it up because it got to fourth and goal. And, I'm thinking, well, it's Vrabel, he might just take the points. But they go for it, and I'm thinking, if they don't get this, they're going to be kicking themselves because I think they were down at that point. And Drake May threw a beautiful, like, it wasn't like a fade, but it was a beautiful ball to Diggs, and obviously Diggs has to make the catch. And I thought, okay, this guy's got something, and they unleashed their rookie receiver Carl Williams on that, kind of like a mesh man beater where he just beat whoever was guarding him. But again, Drake May standing tough in the pocket, waiting, waiting, waiting. He knows he's going to get hit, and he threw it perfectly. And yeah, that's a 70-yard touchdown, I think it was. So they are definitely a team to take seriously now. Like you, I'm not like full press contender yet, but let's see where it goes. Um, and when I was doing my Thursday night special, I think this summed it up. I was too scared to pick any Jets player props
Yeah.
because I'm like, well, who do you pick? What, I'm going to pick Breece Hall. Well,
And
what
that
do you think the Patriots are going to do? They're going to shut Breece Hall down, like you said. Shut Breece Hall down, and you stop their offense. So, to keep it simple, I agree. Patriots win. Patriots cover this massive spread. We have had some absolutely crazy divisional, bust ups where it looks exactly like this, and we don't get what we think we're going to get. I truly believe, though, this tonight we are going to get what we think we're going to get, which is a blowout. Because, like you said, this quality of wins. The Jets have beaten the Browns and the Bengals, and this is not the Browns or the Bengals.
But credit to the Patriots because they're winning when they're not playing great as well. They're winning on the road. They're winning in games where things don't go their way, like the Falcons game. They have and then they like stomped on the Titans. They stomped on the Browns, and we could wake up in the other side of Thanksgiving and the Patriots are the number one seed in the AFC
Mm,
because upcoming Jets, Bengals, Giants. Right.
great.
Before then, rematch against the Bills. Okay, we're not terrified of the Bills anymore. And that game's in New England.
Hmm.
The rematch is in New England. Then, and you give them a chance in these end of season games. So their toughest game is at the Ravens.
Fair.
And you give them a fighting chance. You actually give them a shot. Like it's a Vrabel coach team with some players now. And then to round out, they've got the Jets and the Dolphins. So you could, they've got two losses already. They could be 14-3, 13-4. Easy. Easy.
Yeah.
That should be enough for the number one seed in the AFC.
Oh yeah, yeah. And you think that the others around them, they won't have a schedule like that.
Well,
So
AFC West have to, we'll come to it, but the Broncos Chiefs this week, and
mhm.
the Chargers are going to play the Chiefs again. The Chargers are going to play the Broncos again. Like those teams are going to beat up in each other. The Colts in the South, are you scared? Okay, if the Colts get the number one seed, but the Colts schedule gets tougher. The Colts schedule is a lot tougher than that Patriots schedule.
Mm.
And then the AFC North ain't going to have 14 wins. So, yeah, they could be the number one seed in the AFC a year after, like going into week 18, leading the race for the number one overall pick.
Wow.
And that's how the NFL can just flip if you have a quarterback. If you have a quarterback, and then it's added bonus if you have a quarterback, head coach, offensive coordinator.
Hmm.
It can,
You do need all three of those things, though. You do, because we saw Drake May without, Vrabel and I forget the OC's name. It's the old Patriots OC, isn't it? It is
McDaniel.
McDaniel. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So you see the difference. I mean, yeah, okay, they added some pieces, but I think like you said, the coaching has made a significant difference.
It has. Yeah. And that's just the nature of us now as fans. We kind of focus on the players instead of the coach. But the coach is huge, like just putting them in good situations.
They spent a lot of money in the off season,
Yeah.
but I think we both looked at the names and we were like, okay, like you're spending a lot not on household names, but it's the Vrabel factor on defense. You
Yeah.
know,
Well,
these guys fit the system.
yeah, a couple of his guys like that you wouldn't know because we're not Titans fans, but they're ex-Titans, like No Vrabel, his guys,
Hmm.
his trust circle. It's working out so far, but we don't know. We really don't know. The season's going to start in January.
Yeah.
Like I say that they make the playoffs now, they win their division, but yeah, there's going to be some real tests ahead, and they're not going to have this schedule next year. They're going to have a.
Yeah,
They're going to.
they are definitely going to have to build again in the off season, and like maybe this will be wrong, but I still don't think they're going to the Super Bowl. Like I think they're going to make a great run of it, but like you said, it's January football against those proven teams who know how to win in January. That's the real test.
Yeah,
But there's so much to be positive about. I mean, if you offered this to the Patriots fans at the start of the year, they probably wouldn't have believed you. So, they're in great spot now.
what a signing though, getting Vrabel, like a
Yeah.
proven. What a signing! Just it's disappointing for the rest of the AFC that he was available
Mm.
and that he had Patriots connections, so he wanted to go there. But yeah, like just go and get a coach. If it's not Ben Johnson, if it's not got the potential like home run upside
Mm.
of that kind of offensive potential mastermind genius of the future, then just take a coach, take a proven coach.
Yeah. enjoy watching the Patriots in January, Titans fans. I know it's not your fault, but jeez, what a fumble.
Get to the Titans.
Yeah. So next up, we've got the Madrid game, the first Madrid game that we'll have seen. It is Commanders v the Dolphins. Dolphins favored by 2.5.
3.5.
3.5 now. Yeah.
Sorry, looking at Panthers Falcons.
And I can understand why, really, because the Commanders are broken now. Like they haven't got Jaden Daniels. The roster is the oldest roster in the NFL, and it shows. The Lions just absolutely had their way. And of course they would because it's a huge disparity in talent.
Mm.
And Mariota is a solid backup, but he's certainly no Jaden Daniels. The Dolphins feel like they've been, sort of reinvigorated since they fired their GM a bit. And I don't know, is maybe Mike McDaniel's fighting for his job in a way, like he believes he can stay now.
I think
Like,
it's maybe the players are fighting for the coach.
yeah, yeah,
Players are playing hard for the coach, like knowing that, right, he's going to be done, he's going to be out of here. This really surprised me looking at the Bills Dolphins game last week was how often like Josh Allen was running for his life. Like defensive line of the Dolphins were bringing it, and that's effort. Bradley Chubb, who was like slated. Why the hell didn't they trade back Bradley Chubb? They could have given him away for a box of cookies. Why didn't they just do it? Just get rid of his salary. Bradley Chubb, every time I looked at that screen, was in the backfield causing chaos.
yeah. And what was the Bills' Achilles heel? They can't stop the run, and Achan ate as much as he could in that game. I think he's going to get the opportunity to do it again against this Commanders team, though,
Yeah.
because there's no speed.
No.
Those outside runs. We saw Gibbs. I mean, what I think of Gibbs, but that was just like the easiest 50-yard touchdown he'll have all year.
Yeah. It was. Gibbs was eating that day. It was almost embarrassing.
Yeah.
Like, God, these guys, it's almost unfair. Like they here we have a team who have lots of speed. Here we have a team who have no speed, who are off. And yeah, it was just embarrassing. Dan Campbell calling plays.
Yeah.
Seems to be having a little bit of fun with it. Great experimental game to have. Like your first like game of full-time play calling.
Yeah.
Against the Commanders defense.
I'll keep it simple. I think the Dolphins will win the game. You never know with these international games who will arrive and acclimatize better, though. So I'm not going to say like it's going to be like a full-blown blowout, but I will trust the Dolphins to take care of this team. Like I said, Achan's speed, the Commanders' lack of speed, that's going to put them in a bind. And this new look, new effort, Dolphins defense should cause Mariota some problems. So yeah, Dolphins win, Dolphins cover.
What? So Jaden Daniels, the injury is the hamstring.
Well, I think it's like a dislocated elbow.
Oh yeah, because they kept him in the game in the fourth quarter when they were down massive, and
Exactly.
they were getting some heat for that. They should sit Jaden for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
They're done. So
He's had multiple injuries. It's just not worth it now.
There's no benefit to putting him back out there. Like their season is over.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, the Dolphins, yeah, like I just said, like I was really impressed with the effort that they put in last week against the Bills. And they could have just, packed it in, just mailed it in for the rest of the season. Like the GM's done. We won't like we'll just mail it in and then the head coach is going to be done and yeah, they're going to clean house anyway, but they really kicked the shit out of the Bills, and I didn't think they had it in them, and they dominated the Bills on offensive defensive line. So you see the way that Achan was because they were blocked up because the Dolphins O line was dominating the Bills D line. It meant that Achan was having one on ones almost constantly against linebackers and safeties.
There are a lot of broken tackles.
Yeah, and Jordan Poyer is not an NFL. Sorry, look, he's. I think he's had a great career, but like he should not be playing free safety for the Buffalo Bills at 35 years of age. He missed at least two open field tackles that turned into Achan like one touchdown and one huge run. And you're the free safety, like when they break it, that's your job. He's 35, like it's not gonna work out. But that's what happens with the Bills when runs. We've seen it with the Bills when the runner breaks into the line, breaks into the second level, then yeah. But anyway, I'm talking about the Dolphins here, not the Bills and their problems. Um, yeah, the Dolphins, I think, have found a kind of a blueprint. If they continue this effort, O line, D line, I think they've got a chance. I think they've got not a chance to do anything. Obviously, win these kind of games, not to go to the playoffs or anything like that. But and Tua was connecting with Waddle as well. He made a really good throw, really good long
Mm-hmm.
Waddle for the touchdown. Yeah, I was impressed with the Dolphins. So can they take it on the road internationally? It's a great matchup because the Commanders are done. Their defense looked atrocious last week. I know it was the Lions, but yeah, the Lions scored on every single offensive possession except when they were taking knees.
Mm.
Yeah, that just can't happen, even if it's the Lions. So, and on the other side, Marcus Mariota. So, how are they going to keep up with teams that score kind of 20 plus points? Simple answer is I don't think they can. So yeah, I think the spread should be. I think the spread based on the games last week should be more than
Mm.
2.5. I think is very fair. And yeah, Dolphins win, Dolphins cover, and I want to see continued this Dolphins effort because that was impressive last week against the Bills. They kicked the shit out of the Bills.
And I like the fact that Mike McDaniel drove past a renowned Bills bar just to do a victory lap after the game as well.
But he said that was AI.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That
Hey, oh.
that's the new generation thing, isn't it? Even if you've done it, you can blame it on AI. He said, yeah, he said it was AI. I hope he did do it because, yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Stick it to the Bills. And the Bills now have lost to the Dolphins and the Patriots in the division, a division that they were 1-4 to win preseason. And yeah, they were bankers to win the division. I mean, they won
Yeah.
countless years in a row. But yeah, impressed by the Dolphins last week. And yeah, win and cover.
So we move to the 6 o'clock window. This is the ultimate like lottery game. Like I just don't know what I will say about this. Panthers at the Falcons. Panthers lost to the Saints after beating the Packers. The Falcons were in a game against the Colts, but what we've seen from the Falcons is you can run on them. Like really, and not just Jonathan Taylor. I mean, we're going back to the 49ers game where my 49ers really ran it down their throat. So that's a problem. And I was surprised because Chris Sims on PFT this week said this Falcons defense is one of the best defenses in the league. I'm like,
The
really?
part is they have sort of, and I know we'll get to it, but that gamble that they made, the first round pick, the trade for James Pierce,
Yep.
it seems to be working out
Yeah, on
because
that side.
gone from having nothing, and I mean no pass rush, worse than the NFL, to now they've got something. It's just with the Falcons, they've got no quarterback play or no consistent quarterback play. So, but they've just made some terrible decisions at quarterback with the Cousins and Penix thing. But the pass rush, so I get why Sims might say, yeah, the defense, because with defense, you're drawn to pass rush and like, wow, they're pressuring the quarterback. Yeah, but what about everything else?
So to say one of the best, I was like, I don't know about that. You know, they're working towards that
Yeah, I
because, like you
mean,
said, they've got the pass rush.
limited Jonathan Taylor, didn't they? Jeez. Like,
So it's a difficult one because, like, you know, logically speaking, the Falcons can't stop the run, and the Panthers have demonstrated that they can run the ball
yeah,
like very well at times.
yeah. My man, Rico Dowdle.
Rico Dowdle, exactly. So it's in Atlanta. The Falcons declined the bye after the international game, so I don't know how much of a factor that will be. But the Panthers' like passing offense is not very good either. So it's one of those like who's gonna be less bad, I guess. And a little reminder, the Panthers beat the Falcons 30 to nothing
Yeah,
in the first game. So I'm sure the Falcons will, you know, they will want to get a bit of payback here. Penix is a weird one though. Like you've heard me say, I don't like his throwing motion. Like it's so tight. Like you see, I'm not saying that everyone has to be Josh Allen and Mahomes with, you know, basically not no fundamentals. They just throw it the way they feel comfortable, and we see greatness. But the way he throws it, I'm sort of like it's such a tight like action. It looks awkward, and we sort of see the results aren't great. And the funny thing is, he is in one of the best situations you could ask for with weapons, at least. Haven't really looked at the protection, but Bijan Robinson, Kyle Pitts, Drake London, Darnell Mooney. Like this is like a star-studded lineup. Like Josh Allen would love to have these guys. So he is getting less than out of them.
yeah.
And I just don't trust him. I don't really trust Bryce Young, like either. But the fact that the Falcons can't stop the run and the Panthers have shown that they can run the ball, and the fact that the Panthers' defense isn't as bad as I first thought, I'm going to roll with the Panthers in this one. Um, Falcons are favored by 3.5, being the home team. So it's not really favored by that much. Yeah, like I can't trust Penix, I don't think, to put together a game. And I'm pretty certain now the Panthers have beaten them. You know, they're on a bit of a streak here against the Falcons because they won in this building last year.
Yeah, this game is really confusing. Anyone that says that they have a really strong opinion, like just please don't believe them. They're they're a homer for either team, or they're just trying to get you to buy a pick. This game, so the first game, both teams, right? So the Falcons match up really well against the Panthers, at least personnel wise, and what they're trying to do. The Falcons try to run outside, and the Panthers are don't have their D line doesn't have the kind of speed, and they're good at stopping the run up the middle, not on the perimeter. But all of that went to complete shit because they lost the game 30 to nothing. And Michael Penix had, from the reports I heard, one of the worst games that people had ever seen in that game against the Panthers. But the Panthers, right? So Bryce Young, is heading into, well, he's going to be heading into week 4, year 4. And I think Bryce Young is done. I think he's done. I think like they've seen enough now. Because if they had some if they had some passing offense and they've got potential to actually be pretty good, the Panthers. They actually really do. I mean, they hit a massive home run on the Rico Dowdle free agent move. And they're making some plays on defense. The defense is not atrocious like it has been in the past. So Panthers, the Panthers should be, but that loss last week against the Saints was just, a what the hell kind of a loss to Tyler Shuck and the Saints, scoring 7 points against the Saints. The Saints defense that has been just completely lit up by loads of teams this year. But I'm going to go with the matchup. So I'm going to pick the Falcons just because I think that they should match up well against the Panthers, but they didn't earlier in the season. But screw it. This is a coin flip game. So I'll go with the Falcons.
It really is because
Yeah.
I think, like you said, it's the early part of this game will be important because if Bijan gets them going and they can play from like a lead, it's totally different from Penix having to drop back, chasing the game. That's where they have big problems.
But I was
So
in the international game because it was in the early window. Like I could watch all of it, Falcons Colts, and I wanted the Falcons to come back into it. I've got no dog in the fight, but I was supporting the Falcons in that game. So I'm willing Michael Penix to make plays and make throws. And I was watching him, was like, I've got no confidence in this guy. He just, I don't know, just based on his body language, based on that stupid twitch that he makes when he takes the snap, and he seems to want to do a pirouette every single time to run away from pressure. Like, man, what are you doing?
they're in the same formation every play, it feels like. Well, not the same. Yeah, basically the same formation. It's like a pistol set where they're gonna. You're having to think about the outside zone on every play because that's the way they're lining up.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's like bootleg or like you said, this weird spin on the spot. But it all kind of like it's very basic kind of passing offense, I think.
Yeah,
But that's to me what I read that as is that's all we can trust him with right now.
and there was energy coming from the Colts sideline. So you saw Steichen, he was into the game and and you can't read everything into body language, but I didn't hardly see any change in facial reaction from Raheem Morris at all. I didn't see words coming out of his mouth. He's got the headset on. He can communicate. Maybe the camera just flashed him at the wrong moment. But I just saw like a guy who just was just stone faced the whole time. And the game was on the line at those moments when they're flashing to the head coach. They're not flashing to him in the first quarter where the game's just kind of taking shape. These were the critical moments of the game, and Raheem Morris and even when they lost the game, he's like, "Oh, okay, I better run to the center of the field now to shake the guy's hands." Like, I just didn't like it. I didn't like the body language from the head coach. I didn't like the behavior of the quarterback. He seemed a bit jumpy. Yeah, I didn't like a lot of things from the Falcons last week, but they were causing some problems for Daniel Jones, and Daniel Jones did take a bit of a beating. So
I have a massive problem with Raheem Morris after that game because at the end of the first half, they had like 40 seconds.
the time,
That's enough time to, put together a drive and we're going to kneel it out. Okay, that was a bit odd. But more so at the end of the second half when the Colts tied the game. They, or not quite tied the game, but they're driving down. They're going to kick a field goal. He didn't call his timeouts. Like they could have had 50 seconds. And what have we been saying all season? You get the ball at the 35, you basically need to make one throw and you're going to get at least an attempt at a field goal to win the game. But it's like he's not aware of the situation at all, because it runs down to like 25 seconds, and yeah, okay, there might be enough time to do something, but it really screwed it up, in my opinion. You'd rather sit there and go, we've got 45 seconds. We need to advance the ball 20 yards.
Yeah.
That's a lot of plays. 20 seconds, a negative play on the first play, and it's done. So,
but coaches, right? So coaches who are natural, you'd think kind of going back like Belichick and Vrabel, like modern era, are kind of good in these situations, like game management. But for those who aren't, I mean, they have so many coaches in and around each team. Why is there not like a game manager?
yeah.
So he comes in and says, Coach, timeout. Coach, take a timeout. The coach can override him, obviously, but there should be some kind of strategy guy or something, because the head coach should have a lot going on. Yeah, he's responsible for a lot of things. But if you know that that's not what you're great at, if you're not a Mike Vrabel, you're not a Belichick, then delegate it to somebody.
Yeah.
I don't know the rules though, whether you can have. Yeah, you could. Because how many voices can you have? The OC, the DC, special teams. How many voices can be in the headset?
I mean, between you, there's enough that someone should be saying timeout. Like,
yeah,
and if analytics can, be such a big part of certain teams' decision making, it tells you that you can have some outside noise.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, there's got to be a limit on the number of people who are authorized to speak on the headset.
For sure.
So maybe you could train up like, you're an offense, so the defensive coordinator doesn't have anything to do right then except get ready for the next series. So he's responsible for the timeouts, or he's responsible for at least looking at the clock and going, "Oh yeah, we should probably take a timeout here."
Yeah,
because they do have. No, I'm sure they do, because they do have the guys that tell them when to challenge. At least
there you go. Yeah, the guys upstairs
who say, "Coach, challenge this." So
you could easily have someone there, situational manager, just like probably doesn't speak up that often, but in those moments, coach, there's 50 seconds left, it's rolling. What do you want to do here? We could burn a timeout, and we've got time to get a game-winning field goal.
Yeah, the third and long for the Colts at the end of the first half, like I was screaming at the screen, like timeout. Like the Colts are just telling you, we're okay with this.
Yeah.
We're okay. Take a timeout. Go into the half. Like they're going into the half. I think the Falcons went into halftime with 2 timeouts in their pocket. Yeah, they're done. You don't get them back.
Yeah.
You don't get 5 timeouts in the second half for saving them. No, take them. Yeah. But yeah, that's my little rant about watching the Falcons, just seeing because you don't see, when you're watching them on Red Zone, you don't see the energy in the game. Watching the game live, I didn't like a lot of stuff from the Falcons, but I did love the effort of the defensive line, and I think they've got 2 pass rushers now.
Oh yeah, for sure.
The first round draft picks they've made, so yeah. But I think the head coach should be in big trouble at the end of this season.
Head coach and quarterback are under pressure because this isn't, a talentless team. There's a lot of talent, I think, on this team. So there's a lot of potential if they're coached up and, they continue. They obviously need to continue building.
Well, what's the contract? So is Cousins got 1 more year after this?
So Cousins is in year 2. I think this is Michael Penix's second year, right?
Yeah.
So that means that Cousins is in year 2 of a 4-year contract. But as we know, towards the end, it's going to be empty. So maybe they might be able to get out of it this year.
100 mil guaranteed. When was 4 year, 180, 100 guaranteed. When can they get out of it?
I would say at the latest after next year, but maybe they can this year.
They can get out with 35, still 35 mil, but they can get out with 35 mil next year.
So they may make the decision to do like a post June 1 release where they can split it, half or not half, but 40%, in year one, and then we have to pay the rest the year after.
I know it's easy to say after the event, but Kirk Cousins is going to be 39 when at the end of that contract, and he was coming off a torn Achilles. Like,
Yeah.
wow.
Hell of an agent.
Jeez, Kirk Cousins done extremely, extremely well for himself.
Okay, so we move on. This is an exciting game, I think. Bears at the Vikings. Vikings favored by 2.5. Over to you, Paul.
Yeah, I've been back and forth with this. The Bears have impressed me lately. Like they are winning games they used to lose. They're winning games at the end of games.
Mm.
They're It's really encouraging to see Caleb Williams fight through his own development in this Ben Johnson offense. And it's not it's not what it should well, it's not what Ben Johnson wants it to be yet, but you can see the future, and I think the future is exciting for the Bears because this team are really banged up on defense. And yeah, they weren't a great defense to start with. So they're fighting through it, the Bears, but they're winning these games. That's really encouraging. And the Vikings, like, I I just don't know. I mean, like, so JJ McCarthy, they've got to stick with it. They've made their decision. He had an encouraging game his first game back, but then last week was pretty atrocious. Um, he's throwing the ball down the field. Like he's throwing deep passes, but I just think he needs to. I don't know. I just think his head coach is not. I don't think the head coach is the right coach for JJ McCarthy because JJ McCarthy has come from a run-based Michigan offense. Yeah, Kevin O'Connell wants to throw the ball 40 times a game. He's got Justin Jefferson. He wants to throw the ball a lot. That is not JJ McCarthy.
Mm.
And I just think they would much be better served throwing the ball 20, 25 times a game, developing their run game a little bit, and not putting so much pressure on JJ McCarthy because I think it's going to take some time. I would want to give him the time because obviously they've made the decision. So, they've moved on from Sam Darnold, so they have to give him time now. But I think but it's in the head coach's nature. Like he is an aggressive. He's a passing offense. He's an ex-quarterback. And this game, initially I was going Bears. Then I went back to the Vikings. And I think I'm going to go back to the Bears just based on what I've seen in the last few weeks. Like, yeah, I'm impressed with Caleb Williams in the last 2 weeks anyway. So, yeah, I'm going to pick the Chicago Bears, who could, by the way, be in first place in the NFC North by the end of Sunday if they win and the Packers lose.
Wow. Wowza.
Chicago Bears, first place.
Our friend Answer the Call made a bold prediction that they would win the division. So we'll see.
Yeah,
Um,
you picked them as a wild card.
I picked them as a wild card.
Yeah.
Yeah,
My dark horse to reach the playoffs was the Falcons. Enough said about that. But the Falcons have been in a lot of games. They've just, except the Panthers game where they got smoked. But if a lot of other games, you're like, now the Falcons could have won that. But they,
they could have won in Germany. They could have won.
yeah.
It's one of those years, and we're seeing it with these two teams. Like we honestly don't know what we're going to get from a lot of teams this year.
Hmm.
Um, the Bears, yeah, like I don't know what it is about Caleb Williams, but I've sensed over the last 2 years just like a willingness to hate on him. And
It's a first overall pick. It's just, it's natural, isn't it? It's like, yeah.
he's the first overall pick. He's not gonna win over, let's say, the old generation with his like nail painting and I drink matcha. But I'm just like, let the dude do what he wants to do. Like, what's he doing on the field? And what I'm seeing is someone that is fighting, really fighting it out. Like he wants to be great. It's
Mm.
just there's moments where it's not quite clicking yet. You see, like we've said over the last few years, like, calm down with the velocity of the throws. He made some really nice throws, I thought, in that game where I was like, he took a bit off that one and it was a laser. So the talent, I still believe in the talent. And intangibly, I believe in him even more because they had to really rally at the end of the game. Now they got a break because Jackson Dart came out of the game and he was running all over them. And I think if Jackson Dart had stayed in the game, they might have lost that game. But they're getting some breaks and they're taking them. That's the thing. You get breaks, but are you going to take them? They
Yeah.
have. And
One quarterback winning games at the end of games, it's still the pressure's on. Nothing
clutch. Yeah.
handed to you in the NFL. You still have to go down there at the end of the game when all the crowd are into it and win the game. And he's doing that. And he's crazy talented when you see some of the plays. You're like, wow, if he could put it together like this is, and you can see it. You can see why there were those Mahomes comparisons with him coming out because some of like the elusiveness and the throws. And last week, I did see he didn't seem to take off straight away.
Mm,
At least he seemed to feel out the pocket a little bit before. If it completely went to shit, they went, okay, now I'm going to bail.
yeah.
Or he was just bailing. He seemed to bail. So that's progression that I've seen at least in 1 week.
So, you know, give him time. He's only just been with Ben Johnson this season. You
Yeah,
know, let's see where they are like in after year two. Like, this is a gradual thing. We saw what Jared Goff became with Ben Johnson, and Jared Goff's done amazingly well. But the talent level to me, like Caleb Williams has a lot more talent at least in terms of what he can do. So it must be exciting for Ben Johnson to think, let me just mold him, in a certain way, polish you know, these raw aspects of him, and you could have a superstar in your hands.
yeah,
Like you said, the defense is struggling. The offense, while it's up and down, their quarterback is trying to drag them through that adversity. The Vikings were in that Ravens game until just an absolute calamity on special teams, where the returner fumbled it. The Ravens score a touchdown off of that. And then the returner fumbled it again on the very next drive. That's like a massive swing. And I'm not making excuses for JJ McCarthy because offensively they weren't good. But that's a big swing in a game where your offense is struggling. And they never really recovered after that. can they get this run game going with Aaron Jones? I'm assuming Jordan Mason is healthy, but Aaron Jones is their de facto number one running back. I personally would switch that. I don't know which way to go with this because I picked the Vikings last week and they let me down. And my first thought was I see more promise from the Bears.
Yeah.
But I'm just going to go opposite this week simply because it's a divisional game and the divisional games have burned me. And I'm just going to say the Vikings win because I think this week they're going to turn up. And if their defense turns up, they could give Caleb a lot of problems, a lot of confusion, and bring back some of those jitters. I'm not rooting for that because I'm a Caleb Williams believer, but I think that might happen this week. So I'm going to go Vikings win, and I guess I'll say they'll cover, but it will probably be by like 1 point.
It's 2.5.
Yeah. So Vikings cover. Not confident about it, but I think this is a great game to watch. Speaking of great games to watch, we move on to the Bengals at the Steelers. This is the return game of the fourth and gold biggest win of all time, with Rodgers and Flacco both throwing 3 touchdowns at 50-1. Well, you can get that this time at 6-1. So that tells you
Yeah.
the disparity of those odds is crazy.
Wow.
I'm going to hand over to you, Paul, because I'm sure you have a lot to say about what we saw Sunday night in LA.
Yeah, I'm not going to get into a big speech about the Steelers and the state of the Steelers overall. I'll just briefly talk about what I saw last week in LA. And it was very worrying because, yeah, headline Aaron Rodgers is 41. And he did look old and he did look rattled. And I think there's been some games this year that have masked over that because the Steelers' offense has looked at least competent in games against the Jets, Bengals, and games where the defense took over. But apart from that, when DK Metcalf is taken out of the game by a good defense and the Chargers are a good defense, then Rodgers doesn't really have anywhere to go. And if he's pressured and he has to move, what happens is that he throws a pick or he fumbles the ball in the end zone for a safety, or he looks his age, and he did. So this week, I expect the Steelers offense to look good because they're playing the Bengals and everyone looks good against the Bengals. And we're going to learn absolutely nothing about the Steelers. But that game last week told you everything you need to know about this team's future this season. That they could go 9-8, they could go 10-7, they could go 8-9. It's going to be in that ballpark. But they're going to get smoked by a team like the Chargers or the Chiefs or the Broncos, or they might be able to beat like a Colts. They might be able to beat a team when the defense forces 6 turnovers like the Colts game. But it has to be that. And that's not sustainable. It's just not. And the defense actually played pretty well against Justin Herbert and the Chargers. And they really pressured and made life difficult for the Chargers. But you know the difference? Justin Herbert is not 41 years of age and he can escape pressure. And he did. And he made some big time plays. And the Chargers defense is really, really well coached. And they just said, okay, we're going to take out DK Metcalf. And DK Metcalf is not a he's not an unguardable like well, he is unguardable at one on one, maybe, like physically, but
Like you're talking about separation in
yeah,
different ways. Yeah.
over a game, DK Metcalf, except if he's like one on one against a smaller corner and
Yeah.
it's kind of jump balls. But DK Metcalf is not your throw to him 15, 15 times a game. He's not that kind of receiver. So yeah, I'm not going to get into the Steelers like long term and how we've got to this point, but that game was very worrying for Steelers fans because the defense turned up, and I can't remember a game this year where both units have turned up at the same time in the same stadium.
Mm.
So who knows which unit's going to turn up this week? I mean, both units are overdue to turn up at the same time, but we're yet to have seen it this year. So, but if you had to bet on it, you'd bet on the offense turning up because they're playing against the Bengals defense. The Bengals defense coming off a bye, don't think it's going to make any kind of difference whatsoever. They're just not a great unit at all. And picking Steelers games is a complete lottery. It's a complete lottery. So I'll pick the over. I'll pick the over. The over's 49 in a Bengals game. I think that's completely fair. Steelers are 5.5 point favorites. They've got no business being 5.5 point favorites. I think it's overvaluing Pittsburgh, and it's still Joe Flacco. And Joe Burrow has now rushed his way out of. Joe Burrow's expected to return by Thanksgiving.
Mm.
I've seen the memes that he's worried that Flacco's going to take his job.
There's people talking about trading Joe Burrow this week.
Why not? Why not? Talk about it. I mean, the Bengals wouldn't do it.
The logic being, well, look at the offense without him with a 40-year-old quarterback. Go and get some assets to make that defense better.
Yeah, but it's been for how many weeks?
Exactly.
How long's Burrow been there?
It's Joe Burrow.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's just ridiculous. It's just dumb. Like, focus on the problem, the defense.
Don't create a new one.
Focus on like stopping the Bears at the end of the game. Maybe that might be a good start. Focus on stopping anybody. Focus on tackling. Focus on. Yeah, so the Steelers might have a big game this week, offense, but we're not going to learn anything. I don't know. I prefer to pick points than a winner in this game. If I have to pick a winner in this game, which I do, I'll pick the Steelers. But I wouldn't back them to cover the 5.5. And yeah, it's frustrating being a Steelers fan because like you can see what this team could potentially be if they had a quarterback, like a younger quarterback who could move. But yeah, take over 49 points.
I still think this goes back to what I was thinking in the off season. Like, you needed a second receiver because this is the danger with having it all on DK Metcalf. A well coached team is just going to take him out of the game, like they did on Sunday night. And we look at the other receivers. No one's stepping up, unfortunately. Calvin Austin is the one that Rodgers has trusted the most, and he's failed to take his opportunities. And I just am gutted that Pickens couldn't have stayed for 1 year just to see.
Complete pain in the ass, though.
I know.
We're done with him, and it's real shame. It's real shame.
Even if you had to move him, you had to replace him because to me,
Yeah.
it feels like a sideways move. You know, Pickett, we got DK Metcalf, but we lost Pickens.
Well,
So
VS is probably going to suit up this week. I mean, any team. I mean, I know your feelings on MVS, but at least he's a big body receiver.
yeah, yeah.
At
I mean, why
least
not?
he's got some speed,
He's
and
got some speed and he's played with Rodgers before.
yeah, and we've seen who's playing receiver for the Steelers right now.
Yeah.
Just put him
Um,
like stretch the field a little bit, like to so you can get your tight ends and your backs working underneath.
right, exactly.
Create some space or something. Do something different than what we're seeing right now. It's just more of the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, it was painful to watch, like Rodgers just dumping it off to Jalen Warren like every other play, like little side pass, and the Chargers are loving that. They're just saying thank you very much. You're not going to test us deep. Okay, like obviously you're not going to really throw it into double coverage with Metcalf, but you're not going to test us with anyone else. That's a dream for a defense. They're like, we don't have to worry about over the top. We're going to just hone in on these 15 yards in front of us, and you're going to dump it off to Jalen Warren. That's not gonna win many games. But it's not the Chargers defense this week, is it? It's the Bengals defense. And they're coming off the bye week. Does that matter or not? I don't really think so. But the big question for me in this game is the matchup on the other side. Can the Steelers perform better than they did on defense than the first game? Because they left my poor man Jalen Ramsey on an island with these two just devastating receivers, and that was an unfair assignment. Now Ramsey's playing safety, so I assume he's playing safety because Joey Porter Jr. went down in the game.
Yeah, he did. Ramsey's still a free safety, and he will be at free safety. They'll just
Right.
yeah, so it would be Eccles or yeah, Eccles will play on the outside. He'll just step in for Joey Porter.
Mm.
He will, unfortunately, Slay will probably come back in as well.
Okay. That's a tough assignment. I agree. I think the over. I think this is actually from a neutral point of view. I know it's going to be stressful for my fellow Steelers fan here. I think for a neutral point of view, it's going to be a really exciting game.
Yeah,
Like just well, yeah, the Steelers offense hasn't been great, but it wasn't great last week, but they've been productive over the season, and now they get this defense. Yeah, Rodgers had a field day in the first game, and then of course Flacco is going to aggressively feed Chase, which is the problem. Will the Steelers just change it up and double him and say, beat us with Higgins? And if we lose the game that way, we will live with it. But we cannot let Chase go for another 120 plus game. I'm going to pick the Steelers, but I'm almost like I can feel the mistake in saying those words, but I'm going to do it.
we're both gonna pick the over. That's what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
Because it's just a bad matchup. It's a bad matchup for the defenses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So no way would I pick the cover. Steelers win, Bengals cover. In a game that feels like all Bengals games are, it's going to come down to the final possession.
But this game is it. Like, not to be dramatic about it, but I think it is. So if the Steelers don't win this game, they're done. They're
because
done.
of the rest of the schedule.
Yeah, because the rest of the schedule, and you expect the Ravens. The Ravens got the Browns this week, so the Ravens could be in first place by the end of Sunday
Wow.
with two games against the Steelers and Lamar's back.
Mm.
So it could be, and the rest of the AFC, the three division leaders are what are the Colts 8-2, the Patriots are 8-2,
Mm. Broncos 8-2.
and the Steelers are 5-4.
Mm.
Right, so five, 5-5. So they're not. Yeah, so
It becomes a wild card fight.
yeah, and the Chargers have got a better record than the Steelers, and they've got the headset over the Steelers. And then if they drop behind the Ravens, then I don't think they're making the playoffs. I don't think that's a controversial statement to say that the Steelers are not making the playoffs if they don't beat the Bengals this week.
Mm. Rodgers has got to be careful though. Like he, I think he got confidence from playing the Bengals in the first game that he could run around,
Mm-hmm.
but he's taken a lot of hits, and obviously I don't want to.
Plays, did you see like his facial reactions? He's got a naturally like quite expressive face, and
Yeah,
you almost see his like, should I really be out here against the Chargers? And it's natural, he just got married. He's in his 40s. These are some big guys like wanting to hurt him. And when it's not drop back, read, okay, go to my second read, but I've still got time. I can make the throw. When it's not there, when it's not automatic, it's difficult for him because he finds it difficult to move off the spot.
but then I think he kind of panics a little bit because he seems to step up, run forward a lot, and it's almost like the Chargers were telegraphing that at times. Like, this is what we're going to do. We're going to rush. We're going to make him like think he can run up the middle. Oh, see ya, like sack. So I
They're a,
just
they're a really good defense, the Chargers.
yeah.
Like watching what because obviously I was invested in that game. I watched it. They're a really good defense.
Mm.
Really well coached.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on, we've got Packers at the Giants. The Packers are favored by 7. I'm really, really concerned with the mindset of this offense. I watched the game against the Eagles, and again, I'm just sitting there saying, why are we being so conservative? I know that that's a top defense, so you've got to be careful, but it summed it up really. 4th and 1, game on the line, and LaFleur thinks that an inside handoff to Josh Jacobs running, towards Jalen Carter is going to get it done. Like,
And they called out the play call as well.
yeah,
They said, it's inside zone your way. And they still ran it.
yeah. So I don't know. Like, it's fading for me with the Packers. They've got to change it up because I don't know why it's like this. Because when they're going and they play aggressively, they are an explosive offense.
Yeah.
But
Like, it's so close. And the NFL is such fine margins that, yeah, the Eagles weren't spectacular, but the difference, the Eagles will win those games and the Packers will lose those games. And yeah, they've had a couple of terrible losses. The close loss, yeah, against the Eagles just now, and the Panthers loss, which is just what the hell happened there.
yeah,
But they're in these games. The Packers have a 40 points differential,
I'm surprised it's that high.
and their record is not as what they're 5-3-1. The Packers,
Yeah,
like the Bears, have a better record, and the Bears have like not nearly as good a points differential as the Packers. Like it just makes no sense. But that's what I mean. It's so close, these games. They're
that's
coming
why.
on the flip side of these games at the minute. But just relax. Make it to the playoffs and see what happens.
Yeah, but you're gonna have to change your mindset because we've got polar opposites at the moment in this division. You've got the Lions who will just go for everything, and it's almost like you've got the Packers, the complete opposite, like don't throw it. Just hand it off to Jacobs and see what happens.
Yeah,
So there's time to figure it out. There is time.
it is what
Yeah,
I do agree with you. It is worrying looking at the Packers a little bit, like because you can see it. They've got the talent to be much more than what they're
yeah.
showing. But
It's like LaFleur wants to be super efficient. And he doesn't want mistakes and he doesn't want turnovers. But as a result of that, you have an offense that just has curled up in its shell. You know, it sounds stupid, but it reminds me of Madden. Like, oh, I don't want to make a mistake. Okay, but my offense is such a struggle now because all I'm willing to do is throw the short balls, and oh, I really don't have confidence now on 3rd and 10. You can't just flick a switch and say, all right, love, now we're going to throw it 15 yards. We're going to throw a 15-yard corner route or, a crosser. Like, you have to get into rhythm and you have to be on that. And that's why the Lions are built for the big moments because they just have the mindset of it's 4th and 3, we're going for it, you
yeah,
know, or it's 3rd and 10, and we're going to throw like a 20-yard out to Jameson Williams. With the Packers, it feels like they were down in that game and it was only one score. And they're still kind of just like, we're just going to march the ball down the field, down 10 or down 7 with Josh Jacobs. And that's fine. And if there's an opening and we can throw to the flat or, you know, Dobbs can run a hitch, then we'll do that. Okay, I mean, in fairness, there were a few throws where Dobbs, it's kind of like a contested catch, and we know how good the Eagles are on defense. They lost a lot of those 50-50, not 50-50s, but I say 60-40s, the 41.
yeah.
But they got to figure out something. And this week they get the Giants led by Jameis Winston, which is always an event. And I read earlier that he is undefeated against the Packers, and his touchdown interception ratio is like 7-0. I don't know what we're going to get from him. What I do know is I would never touch the Packers to cover 7 because they're just too conservative for me. And Winston might give them a lift, but they fired Daboll, so they've got an interim head coach. Again, it's like interim head coach, interim quarterback. Is it the infamous bump from those two things? I can't do it because I actually think the Packers defense is still pretty good, even if the offense is not rolling at all right now. So I will take the Packers. It might have been different with Dart, just because of the ad lib running that he offers that can deflate you. Maybe not. Maybe I would have still taken the Packers, but I will take the Packers. The Giants have got a lot to overcome. Defensively, they're not very good. So this should be a spot where the Packers can sort of get right. Packers win, but I say the Giants cover.
Yeah, I'm excited to see this game because it's Jameis Winston. Not because it's Green Bay, based on recent weeks, but because it's Jameis Winston. I love Jameis Winston. Just love watching these games. You just do not know. He can throw for 5 touchdowns, or he can throw for 5 picks, or maybe both. Who knows? But he's gonna be aggressive and he's gonna try to win the game. And I love that style of play. And he is like the anti what the Packers have been doing in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
James Winston is so if there's going to be a quarterback that could get the Packers into the kind of game that they need moving forward, it would be James Winston. I think the Packers need this kind of back and forth, like a shootout kind of game to go. Just relax, just open it up, like just drop back, read, and just throw the ball down the field because this is a team that was involved in a crazy game against the Cowboys, the 40-40, the 80-point overtime game, the tied game. And then they're involved in that abysmal game against the Eagles. Like, that was just a terrible, terrible watch.
Mm.
It is there for the Packers. It's just putting it together. And that's what the regular season is for. So I think they'll be fine. I think they'll go into the Giants, and I think they'll win this. I think they'll cover because the Giants defense is a great unit to kind of play against right now. They have been abysmal this year compared to expectations heading into the season. So I think Jordan Love's going to have a big game this week. I really do. I know it's easy to say, oh yeah, well, Jordan Love's playing this. Yeah, no, I think they're going to open it up this week against the Giants. I really do. There's not expected to be big weather conditions there in New York this week. And Jameis Winston might make this into that kind of crazy game. Yeah, I love it. I love it. I think this is going to be a good game. I think this is going to be a sneaky good game. People aren't thinking it's going to be a good game, but I think it could be an under the radar game of the week. So, yeah, I think the Packers will win, cover in a pretty high scoring game.
Interesting. Right, next up, Texans at the Titans. Texans are favored by 5.5. I'll leave it to you, Paul.
The Titans have their bye week. They've just come off their bye week, so they have fixed all of their problems. The Tennessee Titans, they're going to come out swinging for the Texans, who are still riding with Davis Mills, who had a good comeback win against the Jaguars last week.
Came up clutch in the end.
He
Threw
did.
a dumb pick on the first drive.
He did. He ran in the game-winning touchdown, and then But this Texans defense is really, really good. They are ferocious. They can cover on the outside with Stingley, and who's the other guy? The other corner is really damn good as well.
Oh, yeah.
Lassiter, is it?
Lassiter.
That's at corner, the other corner, and the two pass rushers, Hunter and Anderson. They're coming for guys this year. They're really, really bringing it. They're first in the NFL in yards allowed. The Texans, like, they're just a really good unit. I think they're going to be way too much for the Titans. Way too much. I don't care about the Titans and their bye week. I really don't. The Texans kept their season alive last week against us because that they are done. I think they're done anyway, but it's just prolonged it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they're going to win and cover. Titans aren't going to do much different except put the ball in the hands of their rookie quarterback, and after he saves the day, and the Texans are going to shut down Ridley and whoever else is playing receiver for the Titans. I think that's pretty much it. Shut down Cam Ward. Game over.
Yep, totally agree. The only thing I will add is don't let the score, don't look at the score last week and think, oh, well, the Texans defense gave up all those points. Most of them came like in the first quarter where Davis Mills throws a pick in their half. Parker Washington just went crazy on that return. And there was another return that set them up. So this defense has really impressed me. Right, next up, wow. What a game to have in this window. Chargers at the Jaguars. So my favorite thing, it's the 10 a.m. body clock game for the Chargers. This is the first time I think they've returned since that infamous playoff collapse.
27-point lead.
Yeah. Now, Travis Hunter's out for the season. His season, unfortunately, went the way that I feared it could go. That he played two-way. He had flashes. I'll say flashes on offense. He made a couple of plays on defense, but it to me that this experiment didn't work. And I want him to focus on being a receiver because the flashes that I saw, he's got like a ton of ability and he can make those spectacular plays. But when you look at the Jaguars as a whole, they should not have lost that game last week. I picked them to lose, and it's one of those. I was thinking of you, Paul. I was thinking, what do you always say about we'll watch the first quarter and then, oh, it's one of these games? When I saw that first quarter, I was like, oh, it's this game. It's Davis Mills throwing a pick on the first drive. It's Parker Washington 70-yard return touchdown. And I was like, well, this is done. But it's speaking to the problems that the Jaguars are having, similar to the Falcons, with their quarterback maximizing the offense. They did not score in the fourth quarter, and they had an
Outscored, was it 23 or 26 to nothing in the fourth quarter?
wow, that's tough going.
They were up in the game by 20 to 3. I remember that.
Oh, and then they had the fun, like the kind of, was it an interception, a pick six at the end because like Lawrence got hit
Yeah,
and the ball went up in
yeah,
the air and the
yeah.
big guy ran it back.
It was 30 to 29. Davis Mills ran in the touchdown to take the Texans up by 1 point.
Mm.
Yeah.
So you still outscored 19 to nothing at that point.
It was 26 nothing Texans in the fourth quarter.
Wow. But I've seen the Chargers have let down in this early window on the road this season a couple of times. So it's dangerous. Like we saw them play a very good game defensively on Sunday night.
Yeah.
They struggled through that first half on offense and then came to life. Obviously, Herbert was giving them, those needed plays with his legs. Basically, we're struggling. Herbert's taken off and just deflating the Steelers a bit. I have to take the Chargers. I don't necessarily love it because I don't know what the Jaguars. You don't know what you're going to get really. Well, you kind of do. You're going to get a mixed bag, and it's whether the good quarters outweigh the bad quarters or not. There is that risk with the Chargers, playing flat, but I have to take them because I like what I've seen from Herbert. The defense, when it plays well, will hold up their end of the bargain. And I think Herbert's having a good season despite all of these injuries. Well, really, in spite of all of these injuries. And he's got receivers that he trusts.
Yeah.
Most notably, McConkey is back, and it seems Quentin Johnston is kind of gone quiet again. So Chargers win. The spread is 3. I say they cover.
Yeah, I like the Chargers this week. I think the Jaguars are slowly getting back to being the Jaguars. And last week, if ever a game's going to break a team, it would be last week against the Texans. To be up 29 points to 10 and to lose the game at the start of the fourth quarter is just whatever happened to running the ball to just or quick screens or do something. The Texans defense is really, really good, but this supposed genius offensive minded head coach, I don't know. I wasn't watching the full game because it was on in a quad box, but the Texans were just causing chaos. And just run the ball, throw some quick screens, do something to take away from the Texans pass rush, do something different. And you look at the Jags and like they've scored 200 points through 9 games. They've got a negative points differential, and it's this genius offensive play caller who's come from the Bucks, and he turned around Baker Mayfield. Well, Trevor Lawrence might kill his career, or is it Trevor Lawrence,
Mm.
or is it both? Well, the common denominator throughout like Jacksonville's recent past has been Trevor Lawrence, from what I've seen anyway. And
Yeah.
Justin Herbert is greater than Trevor Lawrence. That's just a fact. Trevor Lawrence would no way be able to overcome what Justin Herbert is. And Herbert played really, really well against the Steelers to evade the pass rush for long enough to make the plays that he did. It was like really, really impressive. And the defense played really well. The only way I think the Chargers don't win this game is the body clock factor. But the Chargers are sneaky on a 3-game win streak.
They had a little bit of a rocky spell, and now yeah.
Yeah, they've sorted themselves out. They seem to, with Herbert, like they seem to have devised the plan, at least with the tackles being out, to mitigate or limit the damage from that. And yeah, they're just more consistent, and you trust them more than the Jags. I don't trust the Jags. And like I said, that Texans game could kill the Jags.
Mm.
That's the kind of fourth quarter that could kill a team for the rest of the season. You could look back in December. Geez, the Jags didn't win a game after that Texans fourth quarter meltdown.
Bears Commanders Hail Mary style kind of thing.
Yeah, serious. Like that's the kind of thing. To lose like that is just devastating because the Colts are away and gone. So that could be the Jags season just done for Jacksonville anyway, like a promising kind of a start. That could be it. They could be done. And yeah, I think they'll lose this week. And the Chargers, they're 7-3. They could be 8-3 if the Broncos lose to the Chiefs. The Chargers are first in the West. And do you remember the start of the season, their schedule?
Oh yeah.
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 So they had Chiefs, Broncos to start the season, and they won both. So they've got that in their back pocket for the upcoming games.
So they're 3-0 in the division right now.
Yeah, they beat I'm sure they beat the Raiders. Yeah,
They beat the Raiders. Yep.
Yeah. So
wow.
no, sorry. They started out 3-0. They had Chiefs, Raiders, then Broncos.
Yep.
I got the order mixed up, but I knew they beat all three.
Mm.
Yeah. So then the rest of their schedule, they'll have those teams at the end of the season.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. I'll tell you what, this early window has got some great games. What a way to end it. Buccaneers at the Bills. My man Josh Allen versus your man Baker Mayfield. How will he fare in Buffalo this week?
Baker kind of struggled a little bit last week against the Patriots. A little bit. Like, bless him, they blitzed him quite a lot, and they got home. They got home a few times, and Baker.
It's been a struggle for a few weeks on offense, I feel like.
Yeah, it has, but
a lot of injuries.
Yeah, it's a lot to overcome because he's still making plays passing the ball, but
no Bucky Irving.
The Bucky Irving one is the big one. He did practice today.
Oh, okay.
He was limited in practice. If he's back, maybe not well, against the Bills it would be big because they don't stop the run. But moving forward, they need Bucky Irving because the other running back that they have this guy Tucker, I think it is. He
Mm.
isn't, from what I've seen anyway, he's a bit more of a plodder. He's and
And White is their pass catching back. Like they'll run it with him, but he's the pass catching back.
yeah, um, yeah. I still think that the Bucks are fine. They're just going through some injuries. When they come through
Yeah.
the other side of these injuries, they're totally fine. They're in a poor division. They should still win the division, and they're going to be fine. And then yeah, they might have to go on the road in the playoffs, but it's okay. That's okay. If they get their guys back, the Bucks could be a problem for any team in the NFC if healthy.
Yeah.
They're just not healthy. The Bills, on the other hand, I think they're going to have a bounce back this week because that was embarrassing against the Dolphins. It was really embarrassing. And if the Bucks don't have Bucky Irvin, or as expected, they do have him, but he's just in his first game back, I don't think the Bucks can expose that side of the Buffalo defense. So I think this is the Bucks. I think this is a tough spot for the Bucks, and I think they're going to get a pissed off Bills team. And the Bills, let's not understate this, but this is the Bills have to win this. They absolutely have to. Because the Patriots have the Jets, and yeah,
Spread's 5.5, which feels high.
it does feel high. But I think this is a bounce back, and I think the Bills are going to win by 10.
It's predicated on this run game because if the Bucks can't run the ball, then the Bills' defense can actually be quite good, and
Mm.
it will give Baker some problems with McDermott's zones. Like he gets creative in the pass defense. The problem comes when the opposing team can run the ball, and it all goes out the window, as we've seen multiple times this year.
Yeah, yeah. I just think the Bucks. Both teams are going through problems, but I think the Bucks have bigger problems just because of their health concerns, and the Bills. Their issues have always been there with this run defense. That's not going away. Bucks don't have the guys to expose that this week, unless Bucky Irvin surprises me and comes back and is just full go and just gashes the Bills. That could happen. I don't think it will. I think if there is a game to rush back from injury, it is this week against the Bills for Bucky Irvin. So I think if he's got any chance to play, they will play him.
Mm.
But I think this is a bounce back for the Bills. I think they're going to be pissed off. I don't like the matchup for the Bucks, so I take Buffalo to win and cover.
I'm taking Buffalo to win, but I think I'm going to take the Bucks to cover. I think it's as you said, it's probably a week too soon for Bucky Irvin. So the Bills have, caught a break there. I'd say if it works out that way, because if they had Bucky Irvin, a fully healthy Bucky Irvin, you bet your life I would be picking the Bucks to win this game because any team that has like a star running back or a really productive running back and running game for the rest of the season, I'll be taking them against the Bills. I don't care who it is because this team is an embarrassment against the run. Like embarrassment. Not the first time last week. So you can forget Super Bowl with the Bills, but they win this week. On to the 9 o'clock window. San Francisco 49ers at the Cardinals, both coming off an absolute arse kicking. I would argue that the Cardinals got their ass handed a bit harder than we
Yeah,
did.
they did. I was going to say, I don't think you got. Yeah, I think your defense got an ass kicking, but I think that's harsh on Mac Jones. I think he played damn well.
Yeah, The problem for the 49ers in that game is when we're playing against the good teams, we have to be perfect on offense. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, we didn't score on our first two drives, and we're down 21 zip. And that's a long way back.
He
Then
did
you re-
bring you back, though. He did.
yeah,
Looking
we
up, it's like you were 21-14 with the ball. It's like, oh, hello, San Francisco. Mac Jones is bringing you back into this.
and then it went wrong. So then it went 28-14. Then we scored again, but then they scored again. And it just, you know, it's a real struggle against the top teams.
Did
The
they
con-
from what I remember, they scored on every single possession.
there were I
Oh,
think there was two
done
possessions.
it twice. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's the margin of error. You get two punts and
Yeah.
they're going to score a touchdown every other drive.
Yeah.
So it's like I said, against the top teams, I said it. Niners have to score a minimum of 35 to be in the game. Now the Cardinals are not a top team, but they're our favorite slithery, sneaky team. I watched a lot of their game. I've got to say, I'm almost out on Marvin Harrison Jr. because he had like 12 targets in the game. He's caught two or three. One was, I think there was a late touchdown, but he can't win a contested catch. And that's all he did in college. That's what excited me about him. I'm like, wow, this guy just catches everything. In the NFL, it's almost like, you know, what is he, a top five pick? It's
Yeah.
almost like Cinderella. Oh, like he hit me, and I'm exaggerating, but he couldn't win a 50-50. And I know the Seahawks defense is great, like really good. We'll come to them. But I was just really disappointed with like you're not going to win any of these 50-50 balls. Like Brissett's putting it in the position to catch it,
Mm.
and he couldn't do it. So that is a low point. I mean, he's out for this game, I think.
Yeah. Exactly.
With so that's one less weapon to worry about. So it's kind of like, can you stop Trey McBride? Because I don't think the Cardinals, while they want to run the ball a lot, it's not the most potent run game. Like some of these guys have had their moments, but this feels like a game the 49ers have to win. And the offense is healthy. When Mac Jones played against the Cardinals in the first game, it was a bit shaky, but it was like maybe his first or second start. That's if it is Mac Jones. It might be. It genuinely might be Purdy this week because he's, you know, he's now had over a week of practice, and
Yeah. 100%.
he's not going to be 100% for the rest of the year. He's
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe so,
Purdy's
but
based off escaping the pocket and scrambling to throw a little bit. Like he's a lot more based on his mobility than Mac Jones. And with a turf toe, if Purdy can't be 100%,
if
aren't
he's 90% though, he's got to go. That's the thing.
you think?
He has to. Like 90 is close enough. Like obviously, the first time they brought him back after 2 weeks. That doesn't sound right.
Yeah,
It's now been like 6 weeks. So, but you know, are you going to see a major difference? I don't know. I mean, Mac Jones has been good, but I do think Purdy's better than Mac Jones overall. I'm not saying he's 53 million versus 10 million good, like better, but I do think he's a better player.
Mac Jones is the 11th rated quarterback in overall like PFF ranking so far this season. He's the 11th best quarterback in the NFL. I think it would be a mistake to like bench him now while he's got some rhythm.
Could be, could
If
be.
if Purdy's not 100%, then I'm not making a. I'm not making a change.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. That's fair. I mean the offense has been good enough. Like,
Yeah.
but what I would say is in those bigger games, Mac Jones has struggled
Mm.
overall. Like, we can't start against the Rams. Uh, what was it? Well, in fairness to him, Jennings fumbled on the second drive, but we go three and out in the first drive. Jennings then fumbles, and then we don't convert on fourth down. That's not, you're dead at that point. But this is a great game. I think I don't want to speak ill of the Cardinals because they are very capable of beating the Niners as they have shown. But I just think that we do have more to offer because we do have a healthy offense. Like, there's even a chance Pearsall makes it this week. And we know that Ayuk, I'm pretty certain that his practice window is opening on Monday. So the offense is actually going to be fully healthy. It's just what can we get out of this defense? We desperately need Bryce Huff back. Like, as crazy as that sounds, but
Yeah.
he actually has some juice to rush the passer. Yeah, I'm gonna take the Niners. Obviously, I can't be confident about it because the defense is, it is less than, and I still think highly of Jonathan Gannon and what he can do on a week to week basis. It wasn't great last week in Seattle, but they're not facing Seattle's defense this week. I'll take the Niners, and I think the 3-point spread is fair. It will be close.
Yeah, I think the spread is fair. I think these are the games that the 49ers win generally. And the Cardinals just got completely whooped in the first half by the Seahawks. That was just a complete whooping. They just came out swinging and took it to the Cardinals. And every time I look back, it's like, gee, Seahawks scored again. Or they're driving and they're right down in the zone again. Or the Cardinals turned it over again. What the hell is going on? But yeah, I would be, if I was a 49ers fan, I would be worried about the defense last week. But this is not the Rams offense. This is not Matt Stafford and Nakua and Devontae Adams. This is Arizona and Jacoby Brissett. So yeah, the 49ers need to win this to stay in the wild card, the wild
Mhm.
race, because it's wide open in the NFC. That one of those kind of teams is going to miss out. You've got Bears, Packers, Rams, 49ers currently in the wild card. So one of those teams will miss out if you don't have a Panthers or a shocking one come into the running. Then it's going to be three out of those four.
It feels like, to me at least, Seahawks or Rams are going to be the 5 seed.
Yeah,
Like, they're going to be the highest seed wild card
yeah,
because they're going to fall short to the other team.
you would think so, but you don't know what's going to happen in the north with the Lions, Bears, and Packers. Like,
Yeah.
but they're going to have to play each other again, as you are. It's exciting in the NFC.
Mm.
It's
Yep.
exciting because there's nobody else bar the Eagles coming out of the East. There's nobody coming out of the South except the Bucks. You
Mm.
wouldn't give the Panthers a chance to catch the Bucks if the Bucks are healthy. The Bucks just need to limp into the playoffs, win the division, and then we'll see what happens. But
So it's like, is it going to be two teams from the north or two teams from the west? Like, I think it'll be like, or sorry, 2-1 either way of, we're getting the three teams from those two divisions, I think.
yeah. So
And who knows? No, it feels like now it would take a colossal collapse by either the Seahawks or the Rams, where we'd get all four North teams in. Like it feels like there will be a North team that misses out now.
Yeah, especially as they've got to play each other. So it's Bears
Yeah.
Vikings week. So for that to have a shot, the Vikings have to beat the Bears this
But
week.
they could literally all finish with a winning record.
Yeah, yeah. No, the Seahawks and Rams are already at 7-2. So
Yeah.
that's a 3 game swing for the whole of the North to get into the playoffs. But
Let's say the Vikings could finish like, let's say 9-8, let's just say, maybe. And they'll finish fourth
yeah,
in their division and they'll miss out.
yeah,
That would be crazy. I don't remember ever seeing a division where all four teams had a winning record. We've seen three. I don't know if we've seen four.
yeah. And it's only that division where it could potentially happen.
Yeah.
Just yeah, it's only that division where it's even close. Yeah, this game the Cardinals are banged up, um, and Jacoby Brissett. Like, I think we're too quick to praise Jacoby Brissett just because people hate on Kyler Murray.
Mm.
Is it that you really think that Jacoby Brissett's that good, or is it just that you hate Kyler Murray? Because what I saw from Jacoby Brissett was okay. Well, yeah, he's right. Yeah, you can win maybe some games, but he's not your starter. So what are we even talking about?
No, I think it's not. It's like the Mac Jones factor. Jacoby Brissett is a better passer than Kyler Murray, but that doesn't mean he's a starting quarterback in the NFL. It just speaks to kind of Murray's limitations.
No, Mac Jones is greater than Jacoby Brissett.
No, I'm saying like when we look at Mac Jones and say, "Oh, Mac Jones is doing amazing," like clearly, he's just as good as Purdy, or like now he should be a starter in the NFL. I don't know if he should necessarily be a starter because if he goes to, I don't know, what are his options going to be? Jets. He's not going to look like this. So
Yeah, and he is looking good because he is in a Shanahan offense
yeah.
with McCaffrey, with Trent Williams.
Hmm.
Difference, there's levels. Yeah, Mac Jones on the Jets, it would be a complete disaster.
Yeah.
But Jacoby Brissett on the Jets, it would be a disaster.
Exactly. It's just the fact that Brissett, his talent level is lower than Kyler Murray, but the specific attribute of throwing the ball downfield is stronger than Kyler Murray. And like I said,
Yeah.
that does not make him a starting level quarterback. He's
No,
definitely not that.
no, they're not. They're not. Yeah, they're tied together because they're in the same. They're on the same roster.
Yeah,
But the fact that Kyler Murray is not your future does not mean that Jacoby Brissett is your future.
exactly. Exactly.
Let's just relax with the Jacoby Brissett thing. And when he
Mm.
plays, yeah, that was a complete whooping last week. He couldn't affect the outcome of that game at all.
No,
I don't think a lot of quarterbacks could, but
no.
yeah, the only reason that they even scored any points was because Seattle turned the ball over.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but the 49ers defense was atrocious last week.
Hmm.
They,
They haven't been like that every week though. That's the thing. They've been like that against the good teams.
mm. And the Rams are a really good team,
Yeah,
and they're really well coached. And they exploited the weaknesses that the 49ers have on defense.
exactly.
Yeah, 49ers win these games. Keep it as simple as that. And I think they'll cover.
Okay. For me, this is almost like game of the week. Seahawks at the Rams. They have been on a collision course something has to give this week to, you know, give us an NFC West leader in the division. Rams favored by 3. The Seahawks have scored a ridiculous amount of points in games. Like, I think they've scored 30 plus in the first half, like 4 times. Which way is this going to go, Paul? What a game.
I mean, I don't know which way it's going to go
Mm.
based on I really like both teams. I was high on the Seahawks before the season. I picked the Rams to win this division. And when I think of this game, I think that I trust Stafford more than I do Darnold. I think if there's going to be turnovers in this game, it's more likely that Sam Darnold is going to turn the ball over than Matt Stafford. Matt Stafford is just really efficient. However, I think that the Seahawks defense is better, at least lately, than the Rams defense. So I'm conflicted because I like the quarterback more, but I think the quarterback could be which quarterback is going to be affected more by the other team's defense. I love the Seahawks defense. They've got some serious guys. They play with so much speed. They're aggressive. Yeah, my guy who I love coming into the draft, Eamon making some plays. He's an absolute freak back there. Witherspoon's making plays. The guys they've got on the outside rushing the passer. They're just really, really good, the Seahawks. But I just trust the Rams a little bit more. I just trust McVay to put them in better situations. He's an offensive coach versus McDonald being the defensive guy. And I don't think he's going to put Stafford in difficult situations. I think he's going to get rid of the ball quickly, going to draw up plays where the ball is out before the Seahawks pass rush gets home. And if any team is going to have success against this Seattle secondary, which is really, really good, it's going to be the Rams. It's going to be these older guys, these veteran guys who know how to get open. And a veteran quarterback like Stafford, I think the Seahawks have got a great future. But I just think this is tough on the road at the Rams against this quarterback, this head coach. I wouldn't bet on this game because I think Seattle are really dangerous. But as to who I think is going to win this game this week, now, I say the Rams.
I believe this is the first meeting, right? We still have a return game to come.
Yes, we do. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. I 100% agree. Like, I actually think Matt Stafford now is on an MVP kind of run here. Like, he's had 13 touchdowns in the last 3 games.
It's 20 touchdowns, no picks in his last 5 games, I think it is.
Wow. And okay, yeah, it's 49ers defense, Saints, Jaguars. Okay. But like, yeah, he's definitely beating what's in front of him.
Yeah.
And yeah, this game's gonna tell us a lot. This game is gonna tell us a lot because Seattle's defense has been one of the star defenses of the year. So now they come up against probably the most red hot quarterback in the league. It's like it's a collision course. This is going to be a great game. But I agree. I think Rams win because Darnold they've dominated these games, and he's kind of made a few funny errors, shall we say. He can't do that this week. And I just think back to last year, Darnold's last game of the season, the Rams kind of knew how to deal with him. So I still think this would be a great game, but I'm taking the Rams. Right, next up, Ravens at the Browns, NFC North, sorry, AFC North divisional. Um, on paper, the Ravens should win this game.
There's weather in Cleveland this week. The weather
Oh boy.
with
Oh boy.
Thanksgiving, weather is starting to become a factor in the tropical climate of Cleveland, Ohio. In November, it's going to be 20-mile-an-hour winds, I've heard, with gusts up to 40 miles an hour.
Do not be careful with your props. Stick to the fair weather games. Do not do any props on games like this. You will regret it. Um, what's going on in Cleveland? Like, Dylan Gabriel isn't talented. I'm sorry. I know that's harsh, but he's not your answer. And
Yeah,
why does Stefanski keep going through this same cycle every year of I call the offensive plays, and about like roughly when we get to week 10 and it sucked, I'm going to hand it off to someone else and they can get blamed at the end of the year, and then I'll start calling plays again. He needs to get an offensive coordinator next year if he's still in the job. And that would be questionable right now. And I know that the offensive side of the team is less than, but you're supposed to raise that's why you're there, isn't it? You're supposed to coach them up. And I don't see any coaching up over the last how many years, really. Okay, they had that little stint with Joe Flacco, but outside of that, it's been pretty bad. So they need a real rethink on offense if Stefanski continues. Get an OC. Maybe Brian Dable will be available. Like, he is a good offensive mind, but he's a run specialist, Stefanski, and it shows because the passing game there's nothing there. The Ravens should win this. Will they win it? I don't know. They lost here last year,
they did, yeah.
and Lamar almost heroically won it.
Cleveland are better at home. I
Yeah,
mean, I'm not saying much. They are better at home. They're not. I'm not going to say they're a tough out at home, but they do play better.
and weather is a factor. And the Ravens are on a. They've won three, so it's almost like they're due like one of those like lapses of games, like they love to do. But I'm not going to do it. I'm taking the Ravens. I'm going to say that they are kind of on a mission now, knowing that the Steelers have dropped a few games, like they're within reach. They're not going to blow it right now. And the Browns lost to the Jets. Okay, like special teams really let them down though. Like they should have won the game, to be honest, but they didn't. So that's the fact of the matter.
They
They
didn't.
they lost to the Jets, and yeah, we're probably gonna be here at midnight on Sunday where they've beaten the Ravens because that's the NFL right now. But I'm not doing it. I'll take the favorite. Ravens win on a mission. Won't be pretty, but they'll get it done.
So my headline from WFAN, The Fan, New York this week was the Giants fans obviously having a meltdown about the Daboll situation. But one of them raised a good point, which was surprising because there's a lot of shouting. But there was one good point that I remember. Why don't people talk about Cleveland like they talk about New York? It's just because of the way it's geographically situated in the country and the media. Because the Giant, if Stefanski or these guys were on the Giants or Jets, then they would have been fired by now. everybody would have been fired. They haven't been fired. I mean, and it was highlighted because the Browns came to New York last week, and the Jets, obviously, people have just got fired, and the Jets fans are going, well, look at this team. Like, wow, this team suck, and they're always drafting high. Why? Why are we always like we don't suck as bad as them? Well, it's close, but like, yeah, the Browns just seem to get a pass. They're allowed to be terrible every single season, and yeah, the Browns will probably turn around and play well against the Ravens this week because that's what they do. They play well in these pain in the ass games against the Ravens and the Steelers in Cleveland. But yeah, questions should be asked about the Browns. Like they got a phone call. Their star player asked to be traded before the season, and they paid him instead of just taking multiple first round picks. It would have been multiple first round picks for a guy that said, I don't want to play for you. And yeah, he's going to have 10, 11. I've seen he's right up there in the NFL standings for sacks through just over halfway through the season.
He had
But
5 in one game, though. That's the
but
thing.
what does it matter?
Yeah, it
What does it
doesn't.
matter? Like, really, for your future, take the picks. What are we doing?
Well, I would say that, but we've seen the way they use the picks with we're going to take 2 quarterbacks in the draft and we're basically going to banish one. Like Shador's not even allowed to practice most of the time. So
Yeah.
why did you pick him? Like I said it at the time, I was like, I don't understand the vision of this draft. And they've made some good picks, but I don't know what they were thinking with some of them. And the funny thing is, they let Flacco go to a team within the division. And yeah, okay, he's got a lot of better weapons, but he's playing at like quite a good level
He
to
was
what
Browns, to be fair,
he
before they
was. Yeah, yeah.
not playing well.
But it
But
speaks to my point that I've been banging the drum on for like 2 years. Stefanski's passing game sucks. And
yeah,
I'm not saying that he sucks, but that aspect of his offense sucks. And we've known it sucks.
yeah, I just think they kind of fly a little bit under the radar because they're in Cleveland, and it was just highlighted by the shouty guys on the New York sports shows this week. Like, hold on, this team suck as well. Why the hell aren't they getting fired? And yeah, maybe they should. Maybe they should have been getting fired, but yeah, the Browns will be a pain in the ass for the Ravens this week, especially in the weather game. But I think the Ravens now they're back and they were 1-5, they're 4-5. And if you look at their schedule, it was absolutely brutal to start the season. It was brutal. Those losses were, your Lions, Chiefs, Bills to start the season, like they were, and they were involved in some close games. Okay, the Texans game was shocking, but and they made a mistake with Cooper Rush instead of Snoop Huntley. When they figured that out, they kind of sorted themselves out. The Ravens are going to be fine. They're going to win the North Division. Pains me to say, but that's going to happen. They're going to beat the Browns this week. I think it might be close. This is going to be a running game because of the weather. So King Henry's going to go off. I would expect that. The Browns do have a good defense, but the Ravens I think they're just going to lean on the Browns this week. And I think they'll win, yeah, 7 points, that kind of game.
Okay. Chiefs at Broncos. Chiefs coming off the bye. Chiefs are favored by 3.5. Chiefs are coming off a loss to the Bills. The Broncos played an awful game against the Raiders on Thursday, as I feared it was going to be. at least offensively. Defensively, they have been very good.
They're really good.
It's just what is going on with the offense, Paul.
I think the offense is just Bo Nix, and he's just in the fourth quarter, he seems to be good, and the rest of the time, he seems to be bad. And I think if you just average that out, he's about mid. And that's kind of about who he is. Not he's not Mahomes, but he's not Dylan Gabriel. He's mid, and he needs the defense to play really, really well, which it has been. But they do need to be more consistent because earlier in the season they were like winning games in the fourth quarter, not doing anything in the first three, and then winning games late. You can't sustain that throughout a whole season. You just can't. This game's interesting though because Chiefs off a bye, and the Broncos have the best pass rush in the NFL against Chiefs, who their left tackle was out before the bye, is practicing, but and even if he comes back, he's going against this Broncos pass rush. But then even with the Broncos and them bringing pressure, Mahomes and the Chiefs are really good at escaping pressure. So which part of that matchup is going to win? Is it going to be the Broncos sacking Mahomes or forcing turnovers over and over? Or is it going to be Andy Reid moving the pocket, moving Mahomes so that the Broncos pass rush does not get home? There's no Pat Surtain as well. That hurts the Broncos. I trust the Chiefs more than I do the Broncos. I trust Andy Reid to have more answers to at least because Mahomes is going to. They know they've had 2 weeks to get ready for this Broncos defense. Knowing about it and affecting it is two different things because the Broncos, they're really quick to get to the quarterback. But if there's one team that's going to be able to have answers for it, it's going to be the Chiefs. You're talking your quick screens. You're talking Mahomes not just dropping back, just taking the snap and immediately rolling out, throwing screens, like quick tosses to the running back. I think Kelsey's going to be involved. Rice and all these little receivers they have underneath, they're just going to, I think they know how to evade the Broncos pass rush because it's the Chiefs. They're just a well-run team. And the Broncos aren't consistent on offense. So I trust the Chiefs more than I do the Broncos. And for that reason, I'm going to pick Kansas City to win and cover.
I say under in this game because I think it's going to be a defensive struggle. And the Chiefs have Mahomes. They're very well coached, but they have a glaring weakness now on this offense, and it is their run game. And I was really disappointed that they didn't pull the trigger at the trade deadline. You know, we're not talking about giving up a first round pick or 2 first round picks. We're talking about like a mid round pick to go and get a running back to bring some balance to this offense, because the application of Hunt, you've got to give him credit. Like, he's still fighting for every yard, but he's slow. And Pacheco, again, he's trying, but he's not explosive. And I just really wanted them to pull the trigger and get Breece Hall. They didn't, so they're going to have to live with this now. Maybe the rookie, I can't remember his name, but maybe the rookie can give them something new. Like, they need something, because it's like I said last week, they look like the Bills before the Bills discovered James Cook. It's we don't have to worry about your run game. Okay, Mahomes might scramble. That's your run game basically that we have to worry about. And so the Broncos are going to make this difficult. But my problem is that the Broncos offense looks broken. So if it's going to be like that, I'm taking the Chiefs. The Broncos, the second half of last year, their offense looked functional, like good enough. Bo Nix rushing and all that, but he was making big plays as well. They look really different right now, and I can't trust them. And they really struggled past the Raiders, and they have been struggling for a few weeks now. Yeah, okay, they turned up against the Cowboys like everyone,
But everybody turns up against the Raiders.
and they didn't. Yeah, exactly. So I have to take the Chiefs off the bye. Yeah, and they cover, but I say under. I think low scoring game. So we will round out week 11 with another blockbuster game. The Lions heading into Philadelphia. What a game. This was my preseason NFC Championship prediction. It could still happen, but I'm not confident on it now. The Eagles are a defensive team. They're winning through their defense. And I will question it again. I don't know why they're spending all this money on offense because the offense isn't good. And I thought it was funny that Saquon Barkley said, "Oh, you know, it feels like people have forgotten that Devonta Smith was a Heisman." Well, yeah, of course we've forgotten about him because he's underutilized. Like he's a great receiver, but he's underutilized. And AJ Brown isn't happy still. We thought that maybe it was all resolved. It's clearly not. And for good reason, because, again, why didn't you trade him? And I looked into it, and there's a clear reason why. This team, I don't even look at Eagles contracts because I'm just like, they've got the best GM in the land by a clear mile. But they have now opened their voidable overdraft on all of their top players. That's why they've been able to go all in. And rightly so. I'm not criticizing that move, but there's a big bill waiting at the end of AJ Brown's contract, Jalen Hurts' contract, Devonta Smith's contract, and then you're looking at Mailata, Lane Johnson, and Barkley. They all have voidable overdraft on their contracts now. So they've set themselves up to go for it for the next 3 years, which is perfect, really. The problem comes when you've got a disgruntled receiver that doesn't want to be here anymore. So they've got to fix the offense. Well, I say they've got to. They've got a great defense. Maybe they don't have to. Maybe they'll just keep being inconsistent. But I don't think that's sustainable. We saw that with the Chiefs last year, that they got all the way back to the Super Bowl, and then then they found out, we can't just grind our way through every week. The Lions, we didn't learn nothing about last week. We knew they were going to absolutely blow the Commanders off the field. But I did think it was interesting that Dan Campbell called plays, because I think that Dan Campbell's thinking is similar to what I've been thinking over the last few weeks. We've been good, but John Morton, we haven't been great, like at our absolute apex. And okay, Dan Campbell decided, let me call the plays against the Commanders, and it worked out really well. I'll be interested to see who calls the plays this week, though, because this is a completely different proposition. The two best units on the field are the Eagles' defense and the Lions' offense. The other side, they're not as good as those units. So We've got two matchups in one. Can the Lions score on this Eagles defense? I'm not sure, but can the Eagles actually just get it together on offense against a Lions defense that will give them chances? This is like basically the second game of the week. I I'm really torn on this one because logically you should take the Eagles. They're the home team. And I don't see the Lions just walking in there and just saying, we're going to, blow you off your field. This is Philadelphia. This is probably the hardest place to play. And as you said, we're now in that like weather part of the year. I picked the Lions to beat the Chiefs, and they kind of fell flat in that game.
They got involved, didn't they? That was a bit emotional for them. You know,
They went in there overconfident though, like, oh,
yeah,
we're going to throw the ball to Jared Goff at the goal line. Like, what are we doing? Like, we're playing the Chiefs.
yeah,
It would just be so ironic that this will be the week that Hurts and Brown like just go off, because you can get at the Lions secondary. You can get at them.
you can if they don't sack you first.
Yeah. So the Eagles are favored by 2.5. I really don't know. I really don't know. I'm going to take the Lions. Screw it. I
Yeah,
think the Eagles know how to win games. That's
yeah.
what is difficult. But at the same time, if this Lions offense just turns up, we saw the Rams put together at least a half against the Eagles and dominate.
Mm.
Just don't run it up the middle like the Packers. Run outside or try to. Certainly don't run up the middle. This will be a great game. I wish it wasn't on a Monday night at 1 a.m. UK because I would love to watch this in full. I will take the Lions.
Yeah, I'll take the Lions. I think the Eagles treat the regular season in a way to get ready for the playoffs a little bit more than I think the Lions are in. I think the Lions need to win this game more than the Eagles because of the division that they're in. And don't get me wrong, the Eagles still want to win this because of the seeding in the conference, but yeah, if the Lions get it together, they can score a lot of points. And they weren't happy with being one of the top offenses in the NFL so far, so they've just changed the play caller through halfway through the season to yeah, I that's kind of crazy to me because it's not they weren't okay, they weren't tearing the league up, but they were still really, really damn good. So
But it obviously wasn't at Dan Campbell's expectation level, which is it's amazing to. That's great. Strive for perfection.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, this seems to be a kind of a clash of styles as well. Like
Mm.
the Lions, the Eagles at the minute seem to be playing a little bit within themselves and playing quite conservatively, but they are capable of opening it up, the Eagles. And Hertz is capable of throwing it outside, as we've seen. And I don't buy into the AJ Brown talk at all. I think if he's still I think if they throw the ball to him, he's still going to catch it. He's still that good. He's still that dominant. And I wouldn't be surprised if he had a big game just because I think he had a big game the last time they fell out the very next week.
The only concerning thing I would say is like there were a couple of plays against the Packers, like one in particular where AJ Brown runs across the shallow and Jalen Hurts is looking like directly in that direction. If he throws it to Brown, it's a walk-in touchdown.
Mm.
But and I don't see how he would have missed him, but he decided to run to the left and run for like 6 or 7 yards. So I don't know how big this problem is between the two of them. Like
Yeah.
the rest of the offense is going to function, but yeah, and it's not an AJ Brown, Jalen Hurts thing almost the way that AJ Brown was talking. Like he just wants the offense to play well. You know, he's saying we're not doing our part. Like we're having to get bailed out by the defense, which is fair. Like it'd be different if he was like, "Oh, I only got 2 balls, and I should be getting 10 balls." The way that others in the past have spoken. I know that it comes from that place that he wants to be individually great, but I thought it was interesting that he was talking about the team at least. Like,
Mm. Yeah. I know that the Lions' offense is going to be productive. I don't know that the Eagles' offense is going to be productive this week. And for that reason, I'm going to pick the Lions. But I'll be interested to see what happens with Philadelphia, like moving forward, just because of the problems that they seem to be having. To announce things in the media is concerning, and now it's happened on multiple occasions. So what really is going on there. I know I've heard that they really don't like each other and they must really, really not like each other for it to be announced in the media. But what happened to this dominant running game? Like Saquon had a big catch and run against the Packers, but
if your passing game is not scaring teams, they can. It's the classic. We can pretty much sell out on this run game. Stop Saquon from going off, and we'll see if you're turning up today with Devonta Smith and AJ Brown.
yeah, I
Because
think
it's classic. Like all year last year, no one, we're not, we didn't have the answer for Saquon. But I'm guessing in the off season there was a lot of like, how do we stop the Philadelphia run game?
yeah, no doubt, no doubt. And yeah, I think the Lions are just explosive. They can pass the ball to, they've got multiple guys to catch the ball. They've got still the 2 guys at running back. And I think if this isn't a Goff turnover meltdown game, which it could be,
Yeah,
they appear from time to time, then I think the Lions will go in there and win. They went into Baltimore earlier in the season with Lamar Jackson and won, with Montgomery having a big game, and then that was a real statement game. I remember that earlier in the season.
so it turns out Lions Eagles is not the Monday night football game, it is the Sunday night football game. Monday night football, we've got Cowboys Raiders. Um the spread for this one, let me just have a look.
Cowboys are favourite by 3.5.
And it's at the Raiders.
Yes.
This one for the Cowboys feels like more than a game because this is the first time they are playing since they lost their teammate. So I feel like we're going to get the Cowboys' best effort in this game to dedicate it to him. The Raiders actually put up a good fight against the Broncos in a very ugly affair last Thursday night. The offense is still struggling. They'll have chances against this Cowboys defense, though. This defense has struggled mightily. Is this the first week that this is the first week that we will see Quinn and Williams as a Dallas Cowboy in Jerry's efforts to stop the run?
Yeah.
So we'll see how the rest of it goes for the offense. But this feels like it could be a good matchup for the Cowboys. Their defense is not very good. They have a new player that they're hoping can inject something into it. And they're going up against an offense that has struggled all year so far. The Raiders' defense isn't that terrible, but you can certainly move the ball on them. And yeah, okay, I'm just going to take the Cowboys on pure will to win this week. They should have some pride for themselves to try and honor their teammate. They've got the weapons on the outside to do it. They're coming off the bye. I'm not like overly confident because I think the last game we saw them was getting dealt with by the Cardinals. So that's scary. But I'm going to say that they simply win this game out of will more than anything else.
Yeah, if the Raiders don't have success against the Cowboys defense this week, then I think it's got to be over for Geno Smith and this experiment. Pete Carroll hasn't turned the Raiders around yet, and there's questions about whether he's kind of lost his magic because
He took on an almighty task to go to the Raiders thinking he was going to win 10 games in year one.
yeah, this is a bad roster all around. They've got some guys, Crosby, Genty maybe might be a player. The rest of the defense, bar Crosby, is not good. And this is going to take quite a few drafts, I think. So I think Pete Carroll, if he can turn it around, it might take a while. They're in a really tough division. So yeah, the Raiders need to have success against the Cowboys this week, or else there's really no hope for this offense. I think Dak Prescott's going to have a big game this week against this Raiders secondary, and protect Dak, protect him against Max Crosby, and I think he's going to have put up some big yards. I think the Cowboys will win and cover. I think they're going to smack around the Raiders this week. I think the Raiders won't be able to keep up with the Cowboys. So yeah, Cowboys win, Cowboys cover. I wouldn't take the over because I don't think the Raiders are going to be able to keep up. The over's 50.
Yeah.
And just keep an eye on Geno Smith. Can he actually have any success against the Cowboys? If he can't, then you've got to say that the Raiders are probably going to draft a quarterback anyway, but I think they'll definitely draft a quarterback if it doesn't happen this week.
Okay. So that is all of the games for week 11. So, as always, our favourite little betting segment. We will start with the week 11 who's going off draft. You can have first pick, Paul.
Rico Dowdle against the Falcons. I love Rico Dowdle. They can't really pass the ball. They're leaning on the run game. He's been productive. Falcons had a historically bad game stopping the run against Jonathan Taylor. That's Jonathan Taylor. But through the season so far, Rico Dowdle's had a great season. So, yeah, I think it continues.
I have to do it because I just don't think your defense is going to change. I'm taking Jamar Chase. Please, Steelers, just double him because if you don't, he's going off as he always seems to do against the Steelers?
Justin Herbert against the Jags defense. He is now getting used to evading pressure. Most hit quarterback in the NFL. I think he's going to have success against this Jags secondary. I don't think that they are that good. They're kind of falling apart. Davis Mills lit them up last week. Justin Herbert is greater than Davis Mills.
I'm going to do it. I'm going to take Matthew Stafford, the red hot quarterback right now, going up against one of the most feared defenses in the NFL. But I say he makes another statement, and it's just quality offense beating a quality defense this week. Matt Stafford to go off.
Dak Prescott against a not quality defense. I think the Cowboys are going to score a lot of points against the Raiders this week. And yeah, as simple as that, they throw the ball a lot. The Raiders can't stop anybody. And yeah, give me Dak Prescott.
And I'll say it like I've said it before. Who does Dak love throwing to? CD Lamb. I think CD Lamb is going to get volume of targets and he's going to go for a big day. Okay. Next up, my favorite segment, Week 11 touchdown to glory pool. I am going to start off and like as always, we're sort of looking for like 2-1, but I'm going to do it in a lopsided way this week. So you'll see why. I'm going to start off with anytime touchdown, Lad McConkey, 11-8, and you will see why. Well, you'll see it balance it out in my second pick. But
Okay.
Herbert, who's Herbert going to throw to in the end zone or generally anywhere on the field? It's Lad McConkey, and he can break off a big one.
Okay. Kind of a 2-1. That's the thing.
Yep.
Looking for a 2-1.
It's either you do it like that or like basically what I'm doing this week. I'm taking the 11-8, but then I'm taking someone that is way above 2-1.
Yeah. Okay, right. Hold on, touchdown, scroll around. Okay. Just under 2-1. I am going to take Deebo Samuel against Dolphins. He's involved down there. He is involved in the Commanders' offense. They haven't got a lot of guys, but Deebo is a proven guy, and he's going to get some looks, I think. So yeah, Deebo Samuel.
Okay. So let me bring that one in. Um, okay, yeah, Debo's just around the 2-1 mark. My second pick, I'm gonna take Andre Yosivash, and he is anytime touchdown 11-2. Now, my angle is I'm hoping the Steelers will focus on Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. If that happens, Yosivash is going to be open over the middle.
I'm going to go with a bit of a shout as well. Similar to you, I'm going to take the Bears rookie tight end, Colston Loveland. I've got him here at 3-1 anytime touchdown.
Love it because DJ Moore didn't practice today,
Okay.
so he will be in line to be the second target. So let's have a look. Loveland. Well, I said it last week and I'll say it again this week. It really is touchdown to glory because you can get that fourfold at 165 to 1. Love it. Week 11 best bets, Paul.
Yeah, I'm going to. I was thinking of the Patriots, but 13 points is still a lot.
Yeah. And Thursday game.
Yeah, and the Thursday factor. I'm taking the Chargers -3 at the Jags. I think the Jags are going to fall apart after last week. 26 points in the fourth quarter to lose a division rival to probably knock you out of the playoffs if we look forward. The Chargers are on the way up, the Jags are on the way down. I don't think 3 points is enough. Justin Herbert's a far better quarterback than Trevor Lawrence. So give me the Chargers -3.
Okay. Hmm. Okay. Give me the over 49.5 points in Bengals Steelers. They gave us a crazy shootout the first time round. And based on the defensive play by the Bengals, I think we're going to get another high scoring game here.
I will take the Cowboys -3.5 at the Raiders. I think the Cowboys offense is far, far better than the Raiders defense, and the Raiders offense has struggled, meaning they're going to have trouble in keeping up with the Cowboys. So I don't think 4 points is enough.
I hate to do it, but I'm going to do it. I will take my San Francisco 49ers -3 at the Cardinals. They haven't let me down in the past because we were in this spot before. What happens when the 49ers come off a disappointing loss? They usually bounce back. And while the Cardinals are no slouch, it is a more favorable matchup this week than, say, a Rams. So I think the 49ers bounce back and cover the -3. We'll finish off with the wheel spin bet builder. Okay. Green is Seattle at the Rams.
Okay.
Wow. Okay. So I'm thinking we stay clear of spread because
Yeah,
it's a, we both picked the Rams, but it's dangerous.
it is dangerous.
Two high quality teams. So
You know the spread on, I've got the spread on Jackson Smith being 100. That's a lot.
it's a lot, but
It's been coming in, but it's still a lot.
you've
Should we
see,
take Puka at over? I've got over 90, so over 89.5.
yep, I'm happy to take Puka. But what I would say is I am happy to take Jackson Smith and Jigba. I will die on the sword with this one
Okay.
because the Rams defense is good, but you can move the ball. You know, he might not score a touchdown, but he'll make plays in the game, I think.
The weakest part of the Rams defense are the corners.
Interesting.
That's
And
concerning for that's concerning for the Rams.
the
Right.
run games are tricky with this because I don't feel like both backs are productive, but they're not like elite.
Yeah.
And while I say that, they're going up against some really tough defenses this week. That's the main thing.
How about is that two or over? I've got either Matt Stafford three or more passing touchdowns, or well, that's 33-20, so that's kind of like that's a good price.
Yep.
And then I've got Sam Darnold two or more passing touchdowns is 4-5.
I was going to suggest that one, so why don't we take both?
Take both.
Yeah.
I think that we'd be done if we added in those two.
We basically get 10-1.
Okay.
So that's Puka Nakua over, well, I've got it here over 87.5 receiving yards. Jackson Smith and Jigba over 100 receiving yards. Matt Stafford, the red hot quarterback, to throw 3 or more touchdowns, and Sam Darnold to throw 2 or more touchdowns. 10-1.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Both kind of running games don't really they I know
They,
Seattle gets Charbonnet involved down at the goal line,
they
but
are loving Charbonnet.
yeah,
Like,
he's a
yeah.
big back. He gets involved down at the goal line. But if it's not like if it's not goal to go downs, if it's kind of first and 10 from the 20-yard line, they're going to pass it. And if it doesn't go for a touchdown, then they'll run it in. But if it goes for a touchdown, we've got the pass and touchdown, and we only need two of them. The Rams don't really pass the ball down there, as we can run the ball down there, as we can see from Stafford's kind of stats the last few weeks.
And you're not running on Seattle. Like, if you need to have an elite run game to run on Seattle, so
Yeah,
they will put it in Stafford's hands, I think, which is, yeah, why wouldn't you? He's in red hot form. I hope this is a shootout.
yeah, this is going to be a great game.
Yeah,
Cool. All right, so we got 10-1.
awesome. Good stuff, man. Like, another week is in the books, and yeah, roll on Sunday. 4-game window again with the Madrid game. Uh, it ends with Eagles Lions. Just go to sleep and do not even think about starting it. Otherwise, you'll be there till the end.
Yeah, that's it.